Alright YouTube, as you guys know, the preview for Yuki has been released with the stream, and oh my god, it is starting off kind of spicy. But we're just going to be talking about her skill kit, what I think about her, if I'm going to pull for her, and you can see right away she is an order striker. So if you guys are trying to pre-farm mats right now, which is what I'm doing actually, because I do plan to pull for multiple copies of her for two big reasons. One, she's wearing a katana, and two, I'm a big fan of her jumper, but she looks absolutely crazy. I think she's going to be one of the better characters in the game, surprise, surprise, just because of how her skills actually work. Now, they do showcase all of her animations. I'll talk about her cards. They do have like this page which shows it all, but you can see her animations look absolutely amazing, much to no one's surprise because it is Smilegate, and they're very, very famous for their good animations in these games. But you're going to see that this character is going to be an amazing AoE damage dealer. And I'm a big fan of this ego skill. She just cuts buildings, looks super badass, but you can see that in the video they showcase her with two draw supports with Nia and Cassius. And you're probably wondering, you know, why this could be. If you look at her skills though, it relies very heavily on drawing, which is why it's going to be very good for her. And the best part about this is that I think she doesn't even need Mika. And the reason why this is going to be amazing is because a lot of the content in the game nowadays is going to be two-team content, even the seasonal bosses. So by having a team, a character that doesn't rely on Mika at all, is going to be absolutely amazing in creating two powerful teams for your roster. But yeah, you can see her skills look pretty cool. She's just working with mostly Nia, I think, is going to be probably her best support looking at it. And I do believe on her banner, Nia will be the featured 4-star, one of the two featured 4-star characters alongside Amir. Not too certain on that, but it makes sense. And Nia is a character, if you do get her to T6, E6, C6, whatever you call it, A6, she does get a lot more healing. So if you do max her out while pulling for Yuki, huge bonus, you'll be able to use her in Chaos a lot easier because Nia's healing output is pretty bad in Chaos compared to Mika, like not even close until you get her to T6, so very good that she's going to be on the same banner. You can see another team she's in with Yuki is going to feature, you know, this duo here with Yuki and Nia, and they do have Beryl as a third character, so I think you're going to run her with Nia like pretty much no matter what, and you'll see why when we look at her skills. And I think Cassius is also going to be a good character, but you can see that she does a ton of AoE damage. Let's look at when this boss summons the second set of ads. Yuki's main focus is just going to be dealing a ton of AoE. Now that does worry me a bit because AoE isn't good for single target fights, obviously. Usually it's just lower numbers. But if her numbers are good, and I think if you run her in this like a good team comp, you can probably still make her work in those single target fights. So this is basically the lore. We're gonna skip over it a bit. She's basically like the chief of like a special forces squad. I think on the left here, this is her background. I'm a big fan. I might have to get her to Affinity 10 ASAP. She looks like less of a crazy character, which is pretty cool. It's like a change of pace. But these are going to be your cards. The top 4 are the basic cards, and the bottom 4 are going to be the upgraded unique cards that you will have to unlock with Epiphanies in your Chaos runs. But you're going to see that she has single target damage, right? She has a shield, very, very basic and kind of baseline for a lot of the DPS characters, right? You get 2 DPS skills, 2 damage skills, and 1 of those shielding or even healing cards if you're like Tressa and stuff like that. And then you're going to see her 4th card here is Prepare to Subdue. She's going to draw one of her attack cards and it gets a bonus attack modifier, which is insanely good. So if you get bad draws at the start, if you have this in your hand, you can draw into one of your attack cards. Now the 4 at the bottom, this is going to be the bread and butter of her kit. She has Flash Slash, AoE damage, Inspiration reduced cost by 1. So if you draw this with the drawing skill, it gets reduced by 1. Trickery Strike, it's going to be retained, it's going to do single target, and it will activate an inspiration to 1 random card in your hand. So if you start your hand with Flash Slash and also Trickery Strike, you can just Trickery Strike and then reduce the cost of your Flash Slash to 1, which is pretty good. Then we have Freezing Blade. So this is going to make it so that when you use a card with an activated inspiration effect, then you do AoE damage. This will make it so that she's just pumping out AoE damage. And to top it all off, her last card, Iceberg Cleave, AoE damage again. With Inspiration, you do slightly less damage on it, but you do an extra hit, so it's going to be a net gain by a decent amount. Then her Ego skill, 5 cost, 5 Ego points, AoE attack, moves all your attack cards in your hand to the top of the draw pile, and this does extra damage based off the cards moved. So you're basically giving up your attack cards, but if you have a skill to draw it again, like Prepare to Subdue, or Nia, or Cassius, or even one of those monster cards like Spirit Kafox, then you can draw back into it. So you can see that this kit looks absolutely crazy in terms of just dealing a lot of AoE damage, which is going to be pretty insane, I think. A lot of the farming stages, you want good AoE. Some of the chaos stages, when you're pushing higher levels, you want AoE as well for some worlds. But you can see she's going to work very well with characters that will draw for her. And I think that is pretty obvious when looking at her kit. They talk about what her skill set is like. Yeah, just a lot of AoE, just a lot of drawing. And they also even look at some of the epiphanies. So I think they show the first one here. So they only tease like 2 of the cards. So the first one is Prepare to Subdue. But you can see that some of these epiphanies look actually crazy. So you can see that if you actually Inspiration, you're Prepare to Subdue in the 4th card, you draw 2 attack cards, I believe, which is absolutely crazy. The 3rd card, you can just draw 2 attack cards like outright. However, you do get reduced damage on it. You can see on the 2nd card here, you can draw a card and then you can get 20% damage to your attack cards. So you get a 20% damage boost to all of your cards, not just the ones you draw. You can see there's a retain factor that gives you extra damage. You can see there's another one where it'll make it so that you draw your own attack card at the start of every turn, which is probably very good for chaos runs. So there are a lot of good options, right? And I think all of her epiphanies look strong. Some characters like Hugo, on their key skill, like the Hunting Instincts, 4 out of the 5 are actually bad, but hers, all 5 look pretty good. Then we have her Flash Slash. This is her big AoE hard-hitting skill. You can see you can boost the damage. You can actually reduce the cost to 0 with the 2nd one because the Inspiration makes it cost -2 from 2. And according to my math, 2 minus 2 is 0. So if you draw it, it'll be a free AoE attack, which is great. You can see you can do an Inspiration to make it hit 1 more time. You can add Retained, and for each card that you draw, you do extra damage. You can also see that you can just, reduce the cost of it, actually increase the cost of it by 1, so it starts at 3. But every time you use it, it goes down by 1, so in longer fights, it'll be very strong, right? It'll eventually be free. Although I think the last one is probably the worst one, I'd say, because if you're running her with characters that can draw for her, you probably should just take the 2nd one over it. But you can see there's a lot of good epiphanies. I think like epiphanies really make or break a lot of the characters, and usually characters with good epiphanies just always end up being very strong, right? Their base cards, sure, they're great, but it really comes down to their epiphanies, right? Now we do have her partner here as well, and this one is going to be pretty much her best in slot by far. Her design is okay, I guess, not really a fan, but you're gonna see that this is going to be a striker partner. It'll allow you to boost the damage drawn by your own abilities. So you saw that Yuki can draw her own card with that 4th skill in her basic skill kit, her card kit, whatever you want to call it. And you'll also see the damage that you do with those cards that you draw do more damage. So yeah, it's an insane partner for her. I think it's going to be her best. There's obviously some other ones you can use, right? You can probably use like the 4-star one, I forgot her name, Lillian and stuff like that, but I think her own partner is going to be absolutely crazy on her. Now, I think the ego skill is going to be, I think they just showed it and I kind of just zoned out, but you're gonna see that you move 1 card from your hand to the draw pile. So you basically put a card back into your draw pile, and then you can draw 1 of your assigned combatant cards. So I don't know if this is a random draw or you choose, but if you choose, it's going to be absolutely crazy OP because you can just cycle a bad card you have in your hand back into your deck and then draw the card that you want for Yuki. So I think it's going to be a very good partner for her. Just her passive, just the partner passive is good enough for her, but this active ability is going to be absolutely amazing. Now, in terms of Yuki, what do I actually think about her? I'm going to go back so you can see the picture of her because we all like some eye candy here. Let me actually find it. There you go. Enjoy the eye candy. I think she's going to be an extremely powerful character, and I am going to pull for her 100% because I don't have a good AoE attacker, and 2, I kind of like her design now. I wasn't a big fan, now I'm kind of liking it more because I see the animations, you know, more in depth. But I think in terms of her capabilities as a character, she looks absolutely crazy, right? I think the biggest selling point to me though is not just her AoE, because it looks like you'll be able to use her very effectively without Mika, because she can reduce the costs of her cards with Epiphanies, and also just by drawing it, right? So I think having a good DPS that works very well without Mika is very important. I do have Renoa built already, but Renoa's AoE is pretty bad, so in the cases I will need some AoE, I am going to use this character. And I think she's going to be pretty good with Hugo as well, which I have built. But I think in terms of an AoE character, she looks absolutely crazy. Not just appearance-wise, but, you know, skill set-wise. And I think she's going to be a very good character. I don't think she's like a must pull, but it's hard to say without testing her, honestly. And I will be pulling for her, and I will be testing her. So, you know, if you guys are curious about, you know, that character, just wait for me to pull and test if that's what you want to do. I will say, however, these are two other characters coming this season, I believe, Chizuru and Serenial. And I do believe that their banners are going to be after Yuki's, probably Chizuru's first, and then Serenial's is what I believe to be the order. I'm not too sure on that. I personally like Chizuru's design a bit more, but you know, if you want to save for these characters because you like their design more, you can, but it's really up to you, right? For me personally, I'm probably gonna just pull on like every single banner, honestly, so not really a big deal to me. But if you're free to play, low spender, you know, you don't spend that much on the game, you might want to save if you have a more preferred character. I will say, however, it's hard to say what the pull, you know, economy is like right now, because at the beginning of the game they gave us so much, so we don't really know yet if it's bad or good. We will have to wait until the season start. But I will just say that these are the other characters coming out. If you guys are on the fence, like I said before, I will pull for Yuki and test her out in a lot of areas of content and show you guys, so you guys can decide for yourself if you want to pull her. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. She does come out in about 3 or 4 days, depending on where you live. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next